Hello, welcome back to girltriesgames. For this Let's Try, we're playing Myst. In the last video, we arrived on the island, unsure of what to do, and we explored the island, and we found a letter from Atris to Catherine, and he left a message for us, which we just witnessed. So if you'd like to watch the message, click the link to the video here. And now we're off to the library, which is part of the clue he gave us. He gave us a clue about books. His concern about his books and his suspicion of his sons destroying his books. So let's head back to the library. He also mentioned the tower rotation, which we don't know what that is yet. Okay, so here, let's go into the library. Let's look at the books. Oh, they look burnt. They do not look good. So someone oh, here's one that's not burnt. Okay, that has a lot of writing in it we'll come back to later. But yeah, all these books are burnt. But not all of them. Some of them are still intact with writing. And we'll come back to those later. Here's another one. Okay. In the meantime, let's take a look at these books. Alright, this book has a lot of static, but it reminds us of the book that we came across earlier, where there was an image panel. So let's see what we can do with this page. Okay, we could put the page into the book. Alright, and let's see what that does.
Monsieur? Are you? See you. Nah. Help me. Bring me blue pages. Never and ever. Pages. I must have the blue page. Bring them to me.
Okay, so there's a dude in there, and we couldn't hear much of what he was saying because of all the static, but he told us to bring him the blue pages. And we saw that by putting the one blue page into the book, it improved the image of him that we could see. So I'm gonna guess that adding more blue pages to the book will make him easier to see and hear. Okay, so there's a blue book and there's also a red book. Let's go check the red book out. And let's put his red page in.
Why? Bring me a red page. I can't see. Need a red page, you must. Make her bring. Shh. I am serious. Give it up. There's one thing I
Okay, so he asked us to bring him the red pages. He seems a little less insane than the guy in the blue book, but he also seems a little more sly and slimy. So, I don't know, but we need to hear more of what they have to say. So we need to keep an eye out for blue pages and red pages. I haven't seen any around the island yet, have you? Oh look, the sun is coming out. Anyway, so now we know that we need to keep an eye out for the colored pages, but we don't know where to find them. Okay, this map of the island is electronic. And there's a flashing red circle that we could put our hand over. And there are different parts of the island that are showing on the map. For instance, the dock is showing here. The gears on the top of the hill are showing here. This little fountain walkway is showing, and that strange brick house with wires coming out of it is showing. However, the spaceship we know is over here that we saw earlier is not showing up. The cabin is not showing up. And the clock tower that we saw is not coming up. Now those things that aren't showing up on the map and the things that are showing up on the map, they all have something in common. Now if you remember, those marker switches, we turned some of them on and some of them off. The one on the dock, we flipped to the up position. The one on the top of the hill with the gears, we flipped to the up position. The one next to that little rotunda, we flipped to the off position, and it's not showing on the map. The one next to the fountain, we flipped on. The one next to the spaceship, we flipped off, and that's not showing. We flipped this one on. We flipped the cabin off, and we couldn't reach the clock tower, so that one's off. So, it would be a good guess to assume that flipping the marker switches off make them not show on the map, and flipping the marker switches on show them on the map. So let's go back and flip them all on so that we can see them all on the map easily. Okay, so we need to flip this one on. This one's in the off position. Okay, let's go turn our spaceship one on. Okay. What else? We need the cabin. So let's go back to the cabin and turn that one on. Okay. And the clock one is still off, but we cannot reach it, so there's no way we can go turn it on yet. Okay, so let's go back to the map and see if our hypothesis was correct. Okay, where's our map? Let's go check out the map. Yes, and now we see our spaceship is lit up, the rotunda is lit up, and the cabin is lit up with the tree next to it. And again, the clock is still off, so we can't see it. Okay, now we're going to click this flashing red circle and see what it does. Ah, tower rotation. I'm holding the mouse button down to rotate it. So the tower rotation is what Atris told Catherine to remember. And we can see that it stops at certain points, turning red. So let's stop it when it turns red on the gears. Oops, it wasn't quite red. There we go. Okay, and a big noise happens. So did we actually rotate a tower? Let's go see if we could see a tower above us. It sounded like it was coming from above, so I'm gonna look back. Okay, so behind this library, we could see up on a mountain. Let's see if we could get a better view. Up on the mountain, there is a tower. So, We can assume that by using that map that shows the tower rotation here, we actually rotate this tower that's behind the library up on the mountain. So what does that rotation actually do? Well, that's something we need to find out. Okay, so the tower was rotated. Now we have to figure out how to get to that tower. And there's no stairways that we can see from back here. It's a pretty steep mountain, so we can't get up there. Oh, but look. It's on the little mountain that attaches directly into the back of the library. Perhaps there's a tunnel we can get through. Okay, so we need some more clues in this library to see how we can get back there. Now let's take a look at these paintings on the wall. This painting shows the front door being open, right? The way it looks now, with the front door open. And this painting shows something that we haven't seen yet. It looks like there's a little bit of stairs here and a hallway. Or maybe the tunnel we're looking for. So how can we get that to happen? The fireplace, let's look in the fireplace. The fireplace has a button in it. Okay, and it closes. But we can't look around in here. All we can do is face this doorway. And we can make patterns in the metal on the door. Okay, but that didn't do anything. So, we can't do anything there. Let's look at this picture again. The icon of the hand, our cursor, changes when we can interact with something. So we can interact with this picture. Let's click it and see what happens. Ah! So, if we go to the middle of the room, now you can see that this hallway is showing just like this picture. So we've opened a secret passageway. And let's go in and check it out. Okay. There's an elevator ahead of us and not much else. Okay, let's close the door. Press the button on the elevator and see where it takes us. Up to the tower. Okay, so we have arrived. There's a ladder in front of us with a book in front of it. Let's go up that ladder and see what it shows us. Okay, so there's a little window in the tower, a sliver of a window that's showing us the gears on the hill. Now the gears on the hill is what we set the tower rotation to. So now we know that when we set the tower rotation to one of those places where it turns red, like the gears where we stopped, it will show us that part of the island. It'll rotate to that part of the island. Okay, so let's go back down. Let's see what else is in this room. Okay, here's a ladder with a key next to it. So let's go up this ladder. Okay, and here we see a plaque with a time, 2:40, and the numbers 221. Okay, so I would write that down. Let's write it down because I'm bad at remembering numbers. And because this clue, we're not sure what to do with it yet. Okay, so 240, 221, and that's related to the gears. This game requires lots of note-taking, or I recommend lots of note-taking, because it's all puzzles. and memory. So remember that. Okay, so we got a clue for something, but we're not sure what yet. Okay, let me get in the elevator. Close the door for us. And press the button to go back down. So as we're going down, let's think about where we've seen time, or where time has come into play. Now we know there's a clock tower that's off the island with little wheels that can turn the clock hands. Okay, we can't exit the building yet because the secret passageway is open. So if we click this painting that shows the door being open, the secret passageway closes, and the door opens. Okay, so let's go check out that clock tower. See if we could change the time to 2:40. The time that was on the clue. Okay, so the little hand, or the little wheel moves the little hand. So we've moved it now to 2. And the big hand moves the minute hand 5 minutes. Okay, so now it's at 2:20. Now it's at 2:25. Now it's at 2:30. 2:35. Okay, now it's at 2:40. So let's press this button and see if we got it. Ah, a gear bridge has opened for us. So let's cross it. Here we are at our clock tower. Let's switch our marker switch on. See if we can go in. Okay, now inside this clock tower we have some more numbers. 3 sets of wheels with numbers on it. Which is good because the clue also told us 221. So it seems we're going to have to get the front panel to read 221. So let's see what these levers do. Okay, the left lever moves the bottom 2 wheels, while the right lever moves the top 2 wheels. This lever resets. We see there's a weight that drops down each time we crank the lever, but when we reset, it goes back up to the top. So let's try again. Let's see if we can get it to say 221. Three. Two, 1, 2. No. 2, 2, 3. The one's right here. Okay, we're back to 3, 3, 3. So let's start over because our weight is getting down. So let's start over since we're at the beginning anyway. Okay, and so we started over. Now let's see what happens now. Ah, so we can see that if we hold the lever down, it moves the top one once while still continuing to move the middle one. Let's see if the left lever does the same. Ah, it does. Okay, so here we go. Let's do it. And there we go. 2, 2, 1. Okay, so this gear opened up. There's nothing here, but we heard a big noise behind us. So does that mean something that it represented something else, kind of like the tower rotation. Not sure. Let's see. Now I want to go back and read the book about the gears. We saw a book with a gear on it, so let's read this book. Before arriving in this age, I was determined that it would be a journey to a world very different from my previous adventures, and it was. The sky here is dark and gray, and incessantly displays flashes of lightning in the distance. I met a very old man with a long beard and hair that hangs to his waist. He is very feeble, and has trouble even moving. This man has obviously been through many things in this strange world, and I have learned many things from him. He has told me an interesting story of this world's history. Years ago, he told me, there was a beautiful city that rose up out of the water. It housed many people inside its walls, and the people had everything they wished for. The city was surrounded by 3 high hills which rose higher than the city. On the east hill of the city rested a large lookout post. The people of the city had constructed the post expecting visitors to arrive from the east. The people had no means of traveling on the water, which forced them to merely wait for friend or foe. As time passed, friendly visitors brought rumors of an enemy that existed beyond the horizon. The people grew fearful, yet nothing happened. One day, the usually sunny sky became as dark as night, and black ships appeared on the horizon. The lookout post's attempts at peace were turned away, and the sentries there were easily overwhelmed. The ships continued to wreak havoc on the city, apparently destroying everyone and everything. After the foundations of the city were destroyed, the city sunk deep into the ocean, and only the lookout post remained. The black ships sailed away. The man continued to say that 8 people had hidden and managed to survive through the attack. In the 9 years since the attack, 2 of the survivors had died. He also said that it was rumored that 10 years from the attack, the enemy would return to finish the destruction they had started so long ago. I have decided, since hearing the man's story, it would be admirable to save this civilization and stop this enemy's plan of destruction. I am excited about the adventure that awaits me, and an idea has sparked in my mind to provide the needed defense for these people. I met the remaining survivors today, and I have begun work on a plan for protection. After a short absence, I have returned to this age with my 2 sons. They have, as of yet, traveled rarely with me, and they are understandably excited to be here. They have grown considerably since Everdunes, and it is already obvious to me that they will be a great help this time. Instead of the nuisance they have been in the past, all 3 of us, along with 4 of the healthier survivors, began construction today. We are building upon the old city's ruins, which will provide a perfect foundation for our fortress. My sons have been spending much of their spare time on the South Island, where most of my materials are stored. I am very pleased with their intelligence, and their creativity is refreshing to see, as they work on some small projects of their own. So you can see there's some illustrations here too. Can't read what that says, but see if you can remember that image. Also, here's a picture of some stairs with arrows pointing up. It has been over 4 months now, and construction is going well. My sons love the world, except for its gray sky. They detest the gray sky and tell me many times they wish the sky here were like this blue sky in Myst. That's where we are. The old man I first talked to tells me that the enemy is due in 4 months. I feel we will be ready when the time comes. The man reminds me of Emmett in many ways, and I often wonder how Emmett and his people are doing. It has been 6 months of work, and we have finally finished the fortress. It rests between the 3 hills, which are now only islands due to a rising water level that the people experienced after the attack. Inside the fortress, I have designed a most intriguing device. It makes use of a technology called holography. I began experimenting with on my visits to Aspermere. It will be working in a couple of days after I compensate for some small miscalculations. This holographic device will enable the survivors to learn to use the fortress. The enemy is due to come soon, and I trust the fortress will provide sufficient protection for all of us. Let's go back and look at this. Okay, so here it looks like this is the fortress he's talking about. He says this is a track around here. and it looks like the arrows are pointing either direction. So here's a bridge that leads from this fortress to this island, which he mentioned already. Looks like here's another island and here's another island. So perhaps this bridge rotates between islands. So from this island to this island to this island, it rotates along this track. Okay, the black ships have come. Their attack was substantial. Their weapons have been stopped, and it appears they have turned away in defeat. I could not help but smile as I watched the boats leave. Last night we had a small celebration, and the old survivors danced their dances of old. My sons did not understand why the sky had not turned back to its original blue. The old man told them that the storms would never end until the enemy was destroyed. I assured my sons that a blue sky was not worth the risk of death, and they seemed to hear me. I have had a healthy adventure and have begun work on a new book. Once again I must leave a familiar age in search of a new universe I have begun. But first, I will have an extended time with Catherine, whom I miss very much. I must also return to the people of the tide. I believe in my travels I have found a substance that will ease the pain of their bone ailments that they have long endured. I hope to return to mechanical age one day and find the population growing and my fortress still strong. Though the sky may always be black, I am confident the people here feel a heavier darkness has been lifted from their shoulders. Okay, so let's go back and look at this. This is the insignia of the black ship. Okay, so this writing looks an awfully lot like the writing we saw in the note on the ground. And also he mentions Catherine and 2 sons, which Atris did as well. So we can guess that this book is written by Atris. And he talks about traveling to different ages. This one is the mechanical age that he's talking about, that he brought his sons to, and he built this fortress for them with the islands. So that's just a little background on the mechanical age. So we won't read any more books yet. Let's go to the gears and see what's up over there. It looks different now. The gear has opened, just like the little gear inside the clock tower. Okay, what's inside of it? There's a book. Looks an awfully lot like the Myst book we saw in the beginning. And here is a moving image that we can put our hand over. So in the next video, we will be putting our hand over this image of what looks like the mechanical age that we just read about in Atris's diary. So stay tuned for the next video, and thanks for watching.